President Trump signed his first bill starting to dismantle Dodd-Frank, the Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. Passed in the aftermath of the 2008 recession, Dodd-Frank protected people's retirement savings, created oversight of the big banks, and gave consumers more access to their credit information.
And finally, because of this law, the American people will never again be asked to foot the bill for Wall Street's mistakes.
The law, called Dodd-Frank, includes 4 key provisions. 1, banks are required to separate investment and commercial functions to prevent high-risk speculation with their clients' money. 2, increased monitoring of firms labeled too big to fail, aimed at earlier intervention in the face of trouble. 3, a ban on predatory lending practices, especially offering subprime mortgages to borrowers who actually can't afford to repay them. And number 4, more upfront information for consumers on credit card terms and responsibilities. Supporters say transparency protects consumers and stabilizes the markets. Opponents say regulations cripple Wall Street and slow economic growth. As for President Trump,
we expect to be cutting a lot out of Dodd-Frank because, frankly, I have so many people, friends of mine, that have nice businesses, they can't borrow money.
So what's the upside and the downside of creating a friendlier environment on Wall Street? William Cohen spent 17 years as a Wall Street trader. Now he covers financial institutions. He joins us from Paris today. Nice to talk to you. Do you think actually it'll be an elimination of Dodd-Frank, or will it be a tweaking of Dodd-Frank in some way?
Well, don't forget, Dodd-Frank is a law. That means that, as you know, that means that it can't be just eliminated by a stroke of the pen or snapping fingers, which is probably what Donald Trump likes to do or thinks he can do. It means it has to be amended or changed by Congress. Hopefully, if they're smart about this, they will take a scalpel and take away what they don't like and leave what they do like.
But you've said that banks actually like some of those provisions in Dodd-Frank as well.
I think they do for a number of reasons. I think they recognize that they had way too much leverage, they had too much risk in the system, and now they are required to have more capital. And I think basically they like that. Wall Street wants seatbelts. Wall Street wants speed limits. They don't want to be able to, drive on the wrong side of the road with a whiskey bottle and no seatbelts and as fast as they want. That's not what they want. They want to make a lot of money for themselves and improve the lives of the American people, but they know they need guardrails. This is an opportunity right now. If I were Donald Trump, I would make a grand bargain with Wall Street. I would say, you want to get rid of the pieces of Dodd-Frank that you don't like? Okay, I'm willing to do that, but you have to change the compensation system on Wall Street. You have to change the system that rewards people to take big risks with other people's money and makes them more accountable for what they do right and what they do wrong. So this is something that Wall Street people are familiar with. They don't particularly like it because they get rich now without having to take any risk. But I think they owe it to the American people to make this grand bargain with the President of the United States.
We appreciate your time. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you for having me, Soledad.